Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is the Piracy Show. Now, this week, of course, the vitriol has died down a little bit. I think people have settled in on the Banu Defender. It looks like the ship actually picked up a few sales towards the end of the sale. I don't know how many of that was actually the actual Defender or how many of that was the merch. I kind of am leaning towards there was probably more merch sales than Defender sales. I think once people settled down, I think they saw the flaw in the design and they wanted to hear a little bit more concrete of a solution before they bought it. But you know, I don't say these things to be a dick. It's just I see problems and I pick them up. Like, look at this here. This was an assault rifle design that they released, right? Bullpup assault rifle. That's fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? Now, some people are going to see it right away. Some people aren't. And some people think, you know, how would you even have spotted that? But if you look at it, there's a problem with this design. Think of it. Everyone in Star Citizen, like, you might be a lefty in real life, but you're right-handed in game. Can you see it? The ejector is on the wrong side of the rifle. So when you're leaning in, looking down the sights and firing that rifle, you're going to be firing brass into the side of your head. It's on the wrong side. If you're going for ultra realism, like you want those entities like bouncing off of things and maybe pinging and making noise, all the little shell casings that you eject, they're going to be pinging right off the side of your helmet. Or if you're just doing the animations without the sound, they're going to be bunching up at your neck on your armor and then all just rolling off the front of your armor. So you like the ejector's on the wrong side. You have to move it to the other side. Now, people out there who might be enthusiasts in firearms would probably have spotted that right away and said, oh shit, the ejector's on the wrong side. Or maybe they're trying to make an ambidextrous ejector and you just flick a switch and it comes out the right side or the left. So are you going to change all your animations to allow for left side aiming and left side holding of the guns? Are you going to change all the guns to make sure that you can grip them all from the right and the left? Because there are subtle differences that you have to make an ambidextrous gun. Are you going to go through all that work just to, you know, kind of allow for this? Or are you just going to say, hey, we got to fix that design because otherwise you're going to be firing brass into the side of the player's head? And so, like, it's things like this. Like, I can't turn it off. I don't know. I'm not debating that I might be a little bit crazy. Jury's still out, hopefully. But I can't stop seeing these things. I see things like that and I go, yep, that's going to be a problem. You need to change it. Can't stop. Sorry. Just think of me as, like, lovably crazy, and it makes everything easier. Anyways, let's move on with questions, comments, concerns from the last ship updates. All right, first off, X-Hammy first. Yes, okay. Next, Jennifer Royal. What pisses me off is that I paid $2,700 for a goddamn Javelin and $1,100 for an Idris, and having to wait in line just for the opportunity to do so. And now and now they are just giving them away, the Idris and the Jav, to people who get enough referral points. I have a real job. I can't compete with these assholes on social media. It's bullshit. As far as I know, that contest was actually won before it even started, because they're using like historical referrals going all the way back to when the program first started. And so the people who've been out there just going, referral codes everywhere. They're the ones who are already so far in the lead that it's not even a contest. Now, you might be able to get like a Hello Kitty t-shirt or a Hello Kitty space bike, but like the other side of that is you also have to worry about like going out there and just like annoying people on social media, you know? Like, you become that guy on or that girl on Facebook who's like, check out this program, check out this amazing product, you know? Like, you know, what is it? Dermatologists hate this lady because she's 70, but she looks 24, and you're posting that on people's Facebook crawls and shit like that. You become one of those guys, and it's stupid. I think the like referral program, the best idea for a referral program is just have a simple thing like, hey, If you sign this person up and they buy a game package, both of you get like a heavy armor suit, like your choice between pirate or, you know, like law-abiding marine heavy armor suit, and an assault rifle. You know, one of the flashy new assault rifles. Hopefully not the bullpup, but but you know, you get a new assault rifle and some body armor. And I think that's like just the best way to do a referral contest. I think you know, just creating something like this creates so many problems, and you run the risk of just being one of those annoying people who's out there, you know, going, come on, everybody, sign up for Star Citizen. Come on, come on, come on. You know, more referrals, more referrals. I find that kind of advertising to be very, very annoying. Maybe I'm, you know, once again, the odd man out, but yeah, I think that was kind of a bad idea. I think just like a simple bonus, like a simple usable bonus in the universe for both people, you know, a few credits, some armor, and a gun is a good idea. You know, something to give people a head start. But going all the way to this contest, I think, yeah, especially a contest that was kind of decided before it ever started, it's kind of a bad idea. Agreed. All right, next up, Chris Walker. So more time wasted when they could be working on the... Yeah, okay. And they'll have this crappy ship flyable before it. So I guess you're referring to the Defender. Yeah, they're going to have to go back and redo the Defender. I mean, they've already said that. But I don't know where the Defender works into the schedule. Will it beat the Redeemer? Probably. The Defender sale saw a bit of an upsurge right towards the end of it. And, you know, so arguably, sorry, I almost hiccuped there. A lot of that could have been the merch. But if you look at the Hurricane sale, historically, the Hurricane sale was one of their worst sales ever, if not the worst. You know, we don't have the actual numbers for how many ships went out of both, but the Hurricane's already on the production schedule, so it's conceivable that the Defender will beat the Redeemer. I think, though, that at this point, the Redeemer not being finished at this point is becoming a bit of a meme. It's becoming a bit of a trope that it hasn't been done. It's like, why are you avoiding this ship? And realistically, there isn't a good reason to avoid the Redeemer. Some people might not like the design, but to that I say, well, what if this was, you know, the Scimitar? What if this was, you know, the Boomslang, or whatever you voted for, you know, of those ships? I can't remember all their names now. It's been so long, but, and once again, that in and of itself is a point as well. It's been so long that, you know, it's becoming a bit of a joke that the ship isn't finished. And if you want to make changes to the Redeemer, you know, you can put some thoughts out to the community, maybe about changing those engine pods. I think that's a big hang up for a lot of people. But yeah, the Defender beating the Redeemer, I think that's pretty much a given, because the Hurricane's already on the schedule and that thing was ass. So for the Defender to get on the schedule before the Redeemer, I don't think that would be entirely unexpected. I think it'll be next year. But yeah, the Defender's going to beat the Redeemer. Sorry. I would make a video just seeking justice for the Redeemer and get, you know, trying to get it pushed up in the production schedule like I did for the Merchantman and the, what is it, the Caterpillar. But yeah, I took a lot of heat for that video too. A lot of heat. That was a brutal video. A lot of people were pissed off at me for saying the Caterpillar and the Merchantman should be finished because they've been waiting for so long. Turns out I was right. Anyways, next comment. All right, sorry if I mispronounced it. Kleina Mouse Plays. Could this ship be strategic boom and zoom? In reference to the Defender, I think that probably the game around the Defender is going to be, whether you're using size 3s or size 2s, it would be more to let someone else run interference for you and then just sit there at range and just plug away at somebody while they can't do anything about it, and then using your speed and your maneuverability to just dip out if they ever turn and try to attack you. sort of like if you think about it this way, one of my favorite little nasty little tricks to pull in the early days of World of Warcraft was I used to, I played warrior a lot, is I would just get in people's faces and like just smash them. And I would have a buddy who was playing marksman hunter at the time. I think this would have been towards the end of Burning Crusade. For a while I did a stretch in Battlegrounds that I was having a lot of fun. And I would just get in people's face and he would just sit there and just ping people from range, and there was nothing they could do because whenever they tried to close range with him, he would just like what was it, concussive shot, I believe it is, or something. One of the shots that made people like it slowed down their ability to run and whatnot, and so he would always just use that and disengage to stay out of their range, and I would just be all up in their face, and that's how we would single people out and beat them down. And I think in a weird variation of that, I think that's probably going to be how the defender works, is it's going to be kind of like a 1-2 punch type thing. Two people working in unison would probably help you get the most out of that design and the way they've got it built, once they fix it. All right, next comment. Demiv Psychochild. How is the defender undergunned? It has the same loadout as the Saber and just slightly less than the Super Hornet. Okay, well, the Defender has got basically 4 size 2s on gimbals or 4 size 3 fixed. And depending on how the ship is going to be fixed, those guns might have a bit of an alignment issue if they're size 3s. So all you have is the size 2 gimbals. Now, if you're talking about this ship the way they're talking about it, using it at range, using it at long range, and dropping shots onto people from far away, size 2 guns probably aren't going to really hack it. I mean, we have to wait until we see these tachyon guns, but when you're firing at somebody from range, even though they say that these guns are fast, all you have to do when you're at range from somebody and you're trying to come in on that range is you have to just keep adjusting your direction, adjusting your vector as you're coming in. And that keeps throwing off their, how they align their shots, how they lead their shots. Because if you keep changing course, that pip means that where that shot and where that ship are going to, interact based on both following that same course. If the ship keeps adjusting its course, that pipper is never going to be valid. So you won't be able to hit them as they're coming in, or you'll have a tough time. So it's generally better to pack a little bit more heat when you're firing, so those shots that do connect are going to do a lot more damage, especially when you're firing over long range. So to me, we'll have to wait and see, of course, and everything will have to be balanced out, but to me, that would be something that I would be concerned with. That's one of the things that I just spot right away, and I just go, that could be a bit of a problem, especially if you're using it from range. Generally, when you're firing from long range, you want to use big, heavy caliber weapons, and you kind of want to hit with authority. And size 2s, granted, we haven't seen them yet, but size 2s to me are a little light in the loafers for that kind of application. All right, Barney Granero, thanks for summarizing the Q&A. I don't always have time to read through every announcement that CIG make, and your opinions are often refreshing in their honesty. Yeah, I don't mind reading through all the Q&A. Sometimes there's things that I miss, and it's always good to have these comments because, you guys pick up on things that I don't see, or an email that I missed or whatnot. Sometimes, I kind of got to get these shows out in a hurry because I got real life going on. And yeah, so I mean, it's a give and take, and I enjoy the feedback from you guys. So thank you very much for your honesty when talking about my videos and taking on my opinions on things, because it helps me kind of look for the blind spots and what I'm seeing and what my opinions are to have you guys feeding back to me. So yeah, it's all a helpful cycle. All right, next up, Thomas Vogel. Well, seems that I've done everything right. Got me a double Dragonfly package with LTI and upgraded the black to a BMM at the original 250. Nice. That's a sweet move. Ground vehicle check, loaner Connie for transport check, money making alien capital ship Capital size ship for release check. As you said, Minion 3.0 can come. Yeah, you know what? That's one of the big things that I'm looking forward to is 3.0. 3.0 is going to be so huge. And, you know, even though, like, you know, a while ago somebody made a comment in my videos and they were saying, oh, I only have an Aurora and you guys are all talking about these ships and I feel so bad because I only have an Aurora and that's all that I can afford. And, you know, I'm talking about, get yourself a Cutlass and get yourself a ground vehicle because 3.0 is coming and it's going to be baller, and Ben Lesnick says it's on schedule and then for the end of June, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to get it. But even if you only have an Aurora, don't feel that you're left out. Don't feel that you're missing out, because when 3.0 comes, for you guys out there who don't have ground vehicles and big multi-cruise ships and stuff like that, you know, if you just have an Aurora and Mustang Alpha package, this is going to be the beginning of the golden age for you guys. And much the same way, let's say, once again, using World of Warcraft as an example, the way that tanks and healers are always in such high demand in that game, those of you who only have Auroras and Mustang Alphas are going to be worth your weight in frickin' gold when 3.0 releases. And it's only going to skew further because there's so many people out there who are trying to wrangle with the idea of an NPC crew, who are trying to, you know, figure out how they're going to get all their multi-cruise ships. They're going to want reliable people who know what the F they're doing. And so for all you people who don't have all this fancy stuff and who just have a basic game package, there's going to be so much demand for you in the Star Citizen universe, starting with 3.0, because people are going to be like, I want to land my ship. I want to go around in a ground vehicle. Who's going to guard my ship? Who's going to fly around with me? Who's going to man my turrets? Who's going to do all this shit once we get all these missions on the ground? Who's going to help me bring cargo back to my ship? All of these things. You guys are going to be the main beneficiary, and it's only going to skew further and further as the game moves up in development. When the Polarises start coming out, when the Idrises start coming out, the Javelins, whenever all these things start landing, people are going to be, I need crew. I need people I can rely on. I need people who know how to work shields. I need people who know how to work turrets. So 3.0, as much as it's going to be like this launching point for all of us who have ground vehicles and ships that can land them, for the people who don't have them, this is going to be just as big for you, because this is going to be the beginning of a time in Star Citizen that is going to, it's going to dominate the game, I think, in a lot of ways. That people who don't have all this stuff are going to be so sought after by the people who do, that you might find yourself in a bidding war for you to come and work on people's ship, especially if you have a reputation for being good. Like back in the day, why do I always bring it back to World of Warcraft? But back in the day when I was really good at tanking and I was doing it all the time and I knew all the dungeons and I knew all the bosses, it got to the point where people were offering me gold to either queue up with me or gold to join in their group before the Dungeon Finder even came out, and to go and tank for them in various heroics back in Wrath. Early Wrath, before the Dungeon Finder tool came out. Yeah, people would just dump gold on me to, will you queue up, and then I'll just go find a healer and some DPS, please. And like they would offer me money. And for players who only have like basic ship packages, those you people are going to be in such a good position once 3.0 hits, and then it's only going to get better after that. People are going to be looking for you so desperately to crew their ships that you might be able to command some pretty exorbitant rates for your services, depending on how good you are. And once you get that positive rep, you're going to be highly sought after. So just because you only have a basic game package doesn't mean you're being left out. But, you know, once again, back to the main point, yeah, having ships with ground vehicles is going to be awesome in 3.0. Wow, that was really went off on a bit of a tangent there. Sorry. Are graceful. They say they will fix the Defender right after they fix the stat page. Yeah, then that would be, you know, what is it? February 37th, maybe, that they'll get that done. It's never going to happen, dude. The stat page, they're going to totally redesign it, get rid of it, and replace it with something new, and it'll still be broken. The stats page has always been broken since forever. Yeah, James Rogerson, right after they sort out Org 2.0 and the melting of Voyager Direct items. Yeah. Yeah. That was kind of, yeah. They really stepped into a minefield when they put those Voyager Direct guns out there, and then they keep moving the stats around. They should let us, you know, kind of move that money around fluidly from one gun system to another to explore everything, rather than just kind of like, oh, you have these guns and we're not sure you'll ever get a refund type thing. Yeah. Let's see. Tony Garcia. An attack mode would be perfect, Minion. Yeah, I would really like to see a ship that has kind of like a combat mode and a flight mode. I think that would be something interesting to see, and something that would bring, you know, a different feel to the Star Citizen universe than everything just being a straight up fighter that's either landed or in flight mode, you know? Yeah, I like the comments. If we can use that mode 100% of the time so we can see where we're going. Yeah. Oh, fuck. All right. SMG1, Defender. As exciting as Vanilla Pudding. And Mad Mike, Vanilla Pudding. Yeah, honestly, that design really didn't have a lot of personality to me. I mean, overall, as an artistic criticism, you know, I like the way they did all the colors and all the metallic objects, but yeah, it was kind of a snooze fest, really. I was kind of hoping for something with more aggressive lines like the Merchantman. I know there were other designs in there that were kind of arrowhead shaped and whatnot, but I mean, they still had visibility issues. But yeah, the design was kind of like, I don't know, when you move to like a curvy design, or to like, you know, all these nice gentle curves and all this stuff like that, the designs can very easily slip into an area where they're just muddled and not defined. I think you need a few hard edges to really make something really pop, to make a design really, you know, to give it just the accents, to give it some personality. Otherwise it ends up looking kind of like lumpy and sad. And Defender is kind of lumpy and sad. All right, Citizen Gamer. Every time I see the Caterpillar, I can't help but think it's one of the coolest ships in SC. Agreed. When I first backed Star Citizen, my first ship was the Cutlass. And I would look at the Caterpillar, and I was like, oh man, if only I had the balls to spend that much money, I would love to get that ship. It looks so cool, you know? And it took a little while. I think like a lot of people, you know, I had to kind of get my feet wet a little first before I started, you know, doing silly things with money in terms of Star Citizen, but I don't regret it. But yeah, the Caterpillar is definitely one of those ships that even for a long time when I was arguing that it should be done, I think I'd made a comment a few times that I had said, you know, like this is a ship that's always tempted me. And finally I took the plunge on it, and I absolutely do not regret it at all. Despite all the little changes and all the little odds and ends that have, you know, and all the little trials that the ship has gone through, I definitely think the Caterpillar was one of the ships that came out so well. And I cannot wait till 3.0 and to see it. It's going to be so good. Just to land it, lower down the, the Dragonflies, and just zip around the Caterpillar. As a mission platform, I think that thing is going to be so amazing. I can't wait. All right, next up, Nate the Great. Do you think the Cutlass rework will go out before 3.0? Yes. Oh yeah, there's Rindale. Nate the Great. Cutlass rework finishes end of May. Yeah, so unless there's like a major problem, the Cutlass rework is totally going to be there for 3.0. It's going to be awesome. All right, next up, Thread 64. Glad to hear the clarifications and corrections to the ship page and the Jump Point article. The Defender sounds more appealing now. Looking forward to a long-range sniper. That is, yeah, I mean, that could be one of the interesting aspects of its design. I have to admit, I am leery of it. I mean, I can get drawn into the enthusiasm of certain features of the ship, but overall, I'm still very leery of the design as in terms of its practical usability. I'd be one of those people who's sitting on the sidelines saying, I'm going to let other people test this before I get into the idea. But yeah, that long-range sniping does seem interesting. It does seem like it would be an interesting way to kind of keep people away from your fleet. Overall, though, I think it could have been done in a better way, in a much more interesting way, especially surrounding the Banu Merchantman. I think that, given that, the Banu Merchantman is such a large ship and it's only getting bigger, perhaps a way to go with the Defender would have been to make the Defender a snub ship that drops off of the Merchantman, the same way that the Merlin comes off the Constellation. That could have been an interesting idea, to make, say, like 4 of them hidden up underneath the wings, that the pilots could just go out and you could just launch 4 of these little mini snub fighters that just kind of protect your Merchantmen, so you wouldn't have to worry about range and a whole bunch of things, and you could make a smaller, much more compact design, which would be easier to bring into the game faster, and it would give the Merchantmen so much more personality and give the Merchantmen so much more of a selling point. I think that would have been a better way to do the Defender than the way it was done. Overall, I think it was just kind of like, meh, not really that exciting of a design. All right, Dance Tweety Looney Tune. Okay. You don't know if the single tachyon cannon may be a really strong weapon. That its size too is not the whole story. So it is a bit early to say that the Defender is weakly armed at this stage. Yeah, it's true. I mean, once again, we haven't seen the tachyons yet, so we don't know exactly what they're going to do. But when you're firing at that long range, I still think you want a bigger gun to seal the deal. But then again, it seems like there's an undercurrent with Star Citizen where they want to increase combat times and, kind of, make dogfights last longer, which is always kind of like, from a game developer point of view, it's always kind of like the false idea that you can draw out a dogfight to make it more interesting, when you just ignore the fact that most players will just say, hey, let's just gang up on them and kill them twice as fast, So, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. All right, Yellow. Good job, Minion. Keep it up. In regards to vehicle transport, I do like to see a ship that can transport bigger things like tanks underneath. Then it can drop them at a reasonable speed, and the vehicle tank can put some momentum into their wheels. Okay. So you're talking about launching it almost like Knight Rider style, like in the old Knight Rider show when Kit would slide out of the back of the truck or drive back up onto the truck for transport type thing. Just kind of like a hot drop where you just kind of drop the vehicle and it just rolls out, or just kind of maybe drops down onto the ground and rolls away. That's a cool idea. Let's see. Tower tech can use the momentum from the ship's speed as it drops, to get a starting boost as it moves into position where the action is. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. To like have like a vehicle that you could just say, even if it had like, you remember those transport ships in, oh fuck, what was the name of that movie? The one where Tom Cruise kept dying all the time and it was really funny. The byline for the movie was Live, Die, Repeat. Fuck me, man. What was the name of that stupid movie? But anyways, you remember like the drop ships that they had in that movie where they would drop troops and they would just fall down on those lines? It would be cool to see a ship that could drop a vehicle just like on like an air crane. There was that space probe that they landed on Mars that was sort of the same idea. Is right before it landed on the planet, it had these retro rockets that just kind of held it in a hover, and then a crane lowered the rover down onto the ground, and as soon as it dropped, then the descent package would fly off and crash somewhere, and then the vehicle would just go around. That would be a cool idea, to have like a vehicle that could just drop another vehicle on the move. That's a good idea, dude. All right, next question. Arvid. One sec. Sorry, I had to click over and expose more of the comment because sometimes it's hidden. Extended range for a defender fighter is absolutely unnecessary. A trader race like the Banu, who are always about efficiency and credits, would want the cheapest and most effective solution in every situation. So it would be much better to have a bigger hangar in the Banu MM where you can dock very two compact mighty dog fighters, which would either deflect the attackers or keep the enemy busy long enough for the merchantman to escape. Whoever built the defender obviously didn't know the Banu, in my opinion. I would kind of counter argue that like using up hangar space or would be like using up cargo space, which would lower your returns on a run. I think that maybe using a snub fighter would probably be a better idea. Something that you could just kind of have hooked up underneath the wings and then just drop so it wouldn't even interfere with your cargo. I think that probably would be the most efficient route to go, but I see where you're going with it, and I do tend to agree that the defender it doesn't make a lot of sense. As an isolated weapon, it has some interesting possibilities, but the whole thing of going with the merchantman, I think a snub fighter probably would have been overall a better solution to the problem. And since the merchantman got so much bigger, it would be like a pretty good little mini snub carrier, which is another interesting aspect of the Caterpillar, which we'll get to test in 3.0, is snub carrier. Alright, Lord Mayhem. Seems cool, but prefer my glaive, way better looking and superior visibility. Yes, that is true. And plus size 5 guns, yeah. They promised us a while ago that there was going to be a touch-up for the glaive to make the glaive more user-friendly or more usable in the PU. So I wonder if they're still keeping up with that. I wonder if we have to start asking questions about what's going to happen with the glaive, because it's been a while since we've heard anything about that, actually. Alright, the Canadian will. You know, Minion, it's all good that they said we will fix the visibility even though we don't know how, but it's a fucking concept that they sold to us and put out, and it's already flawed in its concept phase. This is total bullshit. They should have designed the ship better from the start, and I was already looking forward to the ship, and it turned out like crap. They have no excuses for this, and I think many didn't buy it. Yeah, like I can kind of see people saying, you know, well, you know, it's their first kick at the can, and you know they need to kind of find the ship, and it's the first Banu fighter, so there's gonna be some hiccups along the way. And it's just, you know, I always kind of wonder if there isn't like just somebody sitting there saying, you know, like we need to make a basic checklist for every fighter and every cargo ship and all this. Like fighters must have this, 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 and this, and then you can design, but you have to meet these certain qualifications. I think that that's something that's maybe missing from their process, you know. It's they need to, when they look at something, you know, it's sort of like even today when Lockheed or whoever goes out to build a fighter, there are certain things that they know that they need right off the bat. There are certain things that they have to do. So irregardless of how they design it, there are certain things that it needs to have, and good visibility is something that is basic on every fighter. So I don't know how that happened, you know. Alright, next up, JZ/Nuff said, I think the defender is going to be very good at defending. Okay, wow, alright, this is a long comment, so I'm going to kind of paraphrase you here. But what you're saying is that, yeah, so you think that faster, more nimble, long-range ships would be better at defending, which is, you know, there is a case for that, and rather than slower, more tanky ships. I think there's a case for both. I mean, like a longer range ship would be able to kind of shoo enemies away, keep them at range, and like force them to the point where if they come in at range, they're going to take a bit of damage coming in, and then they might take damage from the ship's turrets coming in, so it might be, like a double negative for them to try and come in, versus like even a short range ship that's not that fast or nimble but very tanky. It also presents a lot of issues whenever an enemy tries to come in, and at the same time you kind of want to stay close to the ship that you're protecting. So a slower ship, it's less likely that you're gonna kind of drift too far away to protect your target. So I mean, I think there's an argument for it both ways. I think it all comes down to tactics and doctrine more than the actual design of the ship, though. Okay, Mr. Vey, I would love to put the shields and weapons of the Defender on a Saber. Maybe if we get QT tanks, so quantum travel tanks, like fuel tanks, like drop tanks, right? That can mount, yeah, okay. That can mount in place of the size 4 missile barn. Oh, yeah, okay. No need for a Defender, LOL, great vid. Yeah, that was a thing at one point, that they were talking about drop tanks on fighters and whatnot as a possible solution to the range issues. Instead of like taking missile racks, you could put on extra fuel tanks. And then that seems to have kind of died off. Them talking about that was a couple of years ago, if I remember. So yeah, it would be interesting though. I would like to see quantum travel fuel tanks just as something that makes life a little bit easier, or just an option to help ferry fighters a long distance for people who might not have access to a larger ship to transport them. But yeah, I mean, that is a good point. It's not so much the ship as how you fit the ship, I think. Alright, next up, Gareth, ha 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 ha. I have to look it up, but if memory is right, you can change the 4 small guns on the Vanguard. Okay, the nose guns. As I think the Harbinger and Warden do not have the same guns, so because of the Buck or Battlefield Upgrade Kit, you should be able to change them. Might be limited on what you can put there, but you can change them. I'm not altogether sure that you can. There might be different applications for different models, but I think if I remember correctly, that was one of the sticking points, that they were always like, no, these are the guns you can have and nothing else. That was kind of one of the issues a lot of people had with the very early Vanguard, was that it only had those guns and nothing else. So that could be a bit of an issue with the Vanguard. I'm not sure if that's still a thing though. They might have countered that and said, no, we've changed our mind about it, but I might not have seen it. So, I mean, I would love for you to be right. I would. Because that would definitely be something that would add some sellability to the Vanguard, and, some appeal to it if you could put projectile weapons in the nose. Alright, Tony Garcia. I have to agree that this is not a Defender. It's more of a Banu scrimmager. Also, why does an advanced alien way ahead of human technology get owned by inferior human technology? One would think they have an advantage. In my opinion, shields need to reflect ballistics. I have seen many sci-fi movies, and shields reflect everything from garbage to small asteroids. Okay, so I think that was two broken up, disparate comments. When you're talking about why do advanced aliens always get owned by inferior human technology, it's because it's a plot point. It's a trope that so many movies use. It's like, oh my god, the aliens are so much more advanced, and then Jeff Goldblum shows up with an outdated Mac laptop and hacks the alien server, and we win. It's a way to make the story more desperate and make the story more visceral. It's like, they're so far ahead of us, how could we possibly defeat them? And it's always like some silly little trick. It's just a story thing. Shields need to reflect ballistics. I don't know that they're going to go that way, because if shields reflect ballistics, then that makes ballistics useless, because ballistics, once again, you have to remember, have limited ammunition, and the only selling point that ballistics have over strictly energy weapons, because you never run out with energy weapons, is that they do penetrate shields, and that's the only selling point they have. If ballistics didn't penetrate shields, then no one would use them, because it's, once again, you have to spend money every time you fire a shot. The cash register rings, So they have to. Otherwise, there would be no ballistics in the game. I understand why people don't like it, but once again, if they want to have ballistics in the game, they have to go through shields. Otherwise, people will just look at them and be like, fuck that. I'll just take energy weapons and never run out when I need it. And finally, Nephalite. Dang it. Second. Anyways, that was the show for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And a little sneak peek into my crazy little world. Thanks for watching. And have a great day or night, whatever it is, wherever you're watching this. Anyways, see you later.
Quantum travel initiated.